Hello students, welcome to this session where we are going to discuss about the HCL TechBee exam and what exactly it entails. We have with us today Mr. Subbaraman Balasubramanyan, who is the Vice President at HCL Technologies. He has over 25 years of experience in global IT business. He's a member of the CEO Club of HCL and immediate past chairperson of CII Madurai zone. A member of the CEO's Club at HCL Technologies, Mr. Subbaraman has a track record of driving high revenue, high margin businesses successfully and is leading HCL skilling business. He has established business acumen in managing P&L while establishing strategic mutually beneficial partnerships and relationships with customers and service providers. He is also known to be a highly energetic, result-oriented leader with entrepreneurial attitude, managing diverse teams. He has driven a business through vision, purpose, and empowerment to create win-win situations for stakeholders. He can boast of a successful track record of creating very high value to stakeholders in the domains of lottery, gaming, media, and healthcare businesses. Over the years, he has demonstrated ability to set up, scale, and sustain businesses from scratch to large operations, driving operational excellence and growth in the journey, besides successfully delivering software and infrastructure services across the globe. He has done his MBA from Great Lakes Institute of Management, Tamil Nadu, India, and currently lives in Mumbai. Welcome on board, Mr. Subbaraman. It's an honor to have you on board. Before we start off, I'd like to give a little bit about the exam, what exactly it is, and why students should be looking at it. So HCL TechBee program is an initiative that was started in 2017 for class 12 pass students to get jobs in the IT industry. And the specialty of this program is that students can earn while they learn. So if you're a 12th pass student, you get to write this entrance exam, and then if you're qualified, HCL provides a 12-month training and then a full-time job. They absorb you into the system. They also pay you a stipend while you are doing your internship. And the other good part about it is like they can also pursue higher education with BITS Pilani, Amity University or Shastra University while working. So without much ado, I will just hand over the session to Mr. Subbaraman so that we can just start off with all the questions that you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Subbaraman, for joining us today. Can you first, sir, tell us why this HCL TechBee was conceptualized, conceived, and why you think it's very relevant for the student community at this point?
Sure. So back in 2017, when we conceptualized this, you must understand that our industry goes through a few important actions, right? One action is every 2-3 years, the pace of change of technology is so rampant that new technologies evolve. So which means we need people who have the right acumen to be able to innovate, to be able to build new technologies. The second is the people that we have in our company, they're the biggest assets. We want them to start early with us and stay long. Like for example, this is my 27th year with the company. Now, we want people like that who stay invested in the company, who help the company grow and grow along with the company. So with these, we said, we need people who are skilled to do our jobs. And therefore, we said, let's try and do an experiment in getting people, very bright students, right after their 12th standard equivalent within India, try and get them skilled for the job. So we identified the jobs, a few jobs that we identified at that point. Today, it's grown to 64 plus job families. And we skilled them for a year's time. Now, the skilling had two parts to it. One part was technology. Another part was, the first part was technology and how to deploy technology. And second part was really learning on the job. So where people go get guided by seniors in the real job that they're going to take up. Post this, we said we will get these folks into the company as full-time employees. When we did this, we had a lot of learning, right? The learning was to do with what will happen to the future, of all of you as aspirants into the company. How will you grow? What education should we give? So we are giving focused learning for the job. Beyond this focused learning, there's also general learning, knowledge, as it's called, that's required. So we ended up tying up with institutions like BITS, Pilani, Shastra, and MIT University over time. And we said we will create a learning path for people who are associated with us with these institutions. So to sum it up, we started this program initially as an experiment, but now it's become a full stream intake for the organization where we're getting bright young people and innovate technology of the future.
Sir,
and there is
yeah.
a momentum for them to continue from the career as well as knowledge standpoint.
Sir, you also said there are 64 job families that you created. So does the student have a choice of which skill that they would acquire, or would they be acquiring all the skills while being deployed in one of the skill sets at some point in time?
So students, the way this entire program works is we know the jobs, and jobs are available at a particular point in time, at a particular place, in a particular domain and technology. So there are a combination of multiple parameters that work together. Basis when the student is joining and how the program is going, we look at the aptitude and try and see where the student gets best fit, and then we allocate it. In reality, the organization decides where the student should go, because, like I said, it has multiple factors. This is the real job demand, where the job demand is, how we can try and make sure that people get to be as as close as possible to the work location, vis-a-vis where they hail from, and so on. So multiple factors go into it, but net, the organization decides which job families or which jobs they pursue. But at the end of the day, all these are entry-level jobs. Over time, people will have the flexibility to move from one to another. And as an organization, it all connives into the top over time. And people will all have a great career path leading to the top, whichever job family they get skilled on and they get to start their career with.
Sir, you also talked of the location of the student, and we noticed that it's offered in 8 cities at this point in time. And besides that, you also have 2-3 other countries where you got this in. So what happens to students who are not domiciled in these 8 cities, sir?
So students who are not domiciled in cities where we currently have offices, they will have to relocate to where the offices are, because many jobs require them to be physically present in office. So they will have to relocate. But the question of who can apply, should the applications be limited to people where HCL offices are present? No, the answer is anybody within India, any state of India, any union territory of India can apply for this job, irrespective of whether there's an HCL office there or not.
Okay. Sir, again, I'm coming back to the other 3 countries that are there, because a lot of students also aspire to be working outside of India. So is there a possibility that a student who appears through HCL Tech B in India would ultimately get placed outside of India?
So, like how we started HCL Tech B in India in 2017, we have started our experiments in other countries as well now. This is particularly for intake of people who complete the equivalent of class 12 in their respective countries to join entry-level workforce in HCL Technologies. Now, there are 2 parts to this, right? One is, can students who join in HCL Technologies India, will they have an opportunity to travel abroad? Answer is yes. They all will have the opportunity, depending on where they are at that point in time, the industry they are into, the vertical they are into, will have opportunities for them to go into any of the countries. These countries need not be restricted or limited to the countries where we are offering TechBee today as an experiment outside India, right? Today, we are piloting TechBee outside India in Australia, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and the US. Now, people, the once TechBees in India become employees of the company, they are like any other employees of the company. So they could go to, they might have opportunities to travel to countries outside of these 4 locations as well, depending on where the requirement is at that point in time.
In terms of your pre-requirements, sir, what kind of subjects are a compulsory thing for a student to even aspire to be taking a HCL TechBee?
So, 12th standard with mathematics is compulsory.
Yeah.
So that's the base. And then the detailed eligibility criteria is listed down in our website. People can go take a look at it, which will help them clarify any questions that they want, that they have. The website is www.hcltechbee.com. I repeat, www.hcltechbee.com.
Just for the information of the students, at this point in time, the 8 cities where HCL is recruiting through TechBee is Noida, Lucknow, Madurai, Chennai, Nagpur, Bengaluru, Vijayawada, and Hyderabad. Anything else that you would want to add, sir, on this one?
No, there are. We are recruiting from all across India. I have teams. HCL has teams which are in Jammu and Kashmir, teams that are in Mizoram, teams that are in Manipur, teams that are in Kerala, teams that are in Gujarat, in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. We have teams everywhere. So we are recruiting all across the country. Not necessary that, like I said earlier, the people that are across the country can apply. They don't necessarily need to belong to where there are HCL offices that exist today.
Sir, one very important question that comes in, sir. In terms of the examination and cutoffs, is there any kind of normalization that you practice based on from where the student is appearing for the examination, or is it normalized across the country and then you take an inter-sem merit list?
So let me explain how this entire process works.
Yes, sir.
Once people have the eligibility to apply, as will be detailed in our website, that is just eligibility to apply. Beyond that, what really matters is how they perform in the online test and the learnability assessment. The online test is another thing which can be taken from either sitting at home, or they can go to any of the centers that would be published. Again, it will all be possible once they go into www.hcltechbee.com, register themselves. They can pick and choose how they want to appear for the test, right? Either our counselors, our team will guide them to come to a specific location, which will be exam center, for them to take the tests, or they could have the liberty of taking the test sitting at the comfort of their home, subject to they having the requirements on their PC, like high-speed internet, a camera, a room without noise, disturbance, etc. I mean, multiple such things. So again, these are 2 different modes. Basis how they perform in this, they get shortlisted to what we call a learnability assessment or an interview. Now, basis these 2, performance and progress in these 2, people will be given an offer letter. So eligibility is, the marks are only to first apply. After that, that's not into the picture. What's really into the picture is how well they perform in the entrance examination, which is called HCL CAT, HCL Common Aptitude Test. We have a few key areas in which we assess people. One is quantitative aptitude. Second is logical reasoning. Third is language. And we also have introduced a fourth element, which is about writing ability. So why this is important is the medium of instruction of the program will continue to be in English, and hence it's important that people have a flair for basic understanding of English, both written as well as verbal. And hence, this is important. Beyond this, learnability assessment, which is the interview, comes in, which also can be done online. So this is how the program eligibility and being shortlisted into TechBee works.
Perfect, sir. I think you set it out right. Sir, you talked of the interview. So, a student has passed the examination, is shortlisted, then he goes through the learnability test. Is the interview more to screen or is it to filter, sir?
It is to select people who have the ability to learn. Because we insist that mathematics is a background, it's not necessary that people must have had science subjects, right? It's not necessary that people should have had computer science in their 12th standard. So we are actually a bit broad if you look at it. And hence we want to ensure that people have the aptitude to learn given certain problems, given certain cues, that they are able to latch on to it and progress to help their own understanding of the concept clear. And hence, it's more important that we know how well people can learn. So that learnability is an assessment. Again, there are multiple factors that are deployed. We have certified assessors, learnability assessors within the company who go through this process. So it's more assurance to ourselves as well as to the student that we have, whosoever we select has a large probability to continue successfully to the program.
Sir, right now I'm in college, IFCAI Jaipur, and I really interested in this program. Sir, firstly, I wanted to know that is there any fee for the registration of this program through HCL?
Okay. There is no fee to register for the program, but if you want to enroll for the program, as in join and go through the program structure, after being selected, there is a tuition fee for that.
Okay, sir. How much is it?
It is 1 lakh in taxes.
Gopal, I can just add to what Mr. Subbaraman has said. The fee for HCL Tech B is very, very minimal as compared to the colleges that you would otherwise join. And you actually get a stipend while you're, joining the college and paying a fee. You're also getting a stipend on a monthly basis that more than compensates for the fee that you otherwise would have to pay. Am I right, sir?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the arithmetic part. Gopal, the way I would like for you to look at it is what you get as a career, right? You get to start very early as an employee of the company, that too in IT organization, very, very early age. And you get part sponsored for your higher education. Now, the higher education is available only if you go through the HCL program. Now, why this higher education is unique is because some of the work that we do in HCL is considered for credits in as part of higher education. That's how the tie-up works. So what happens is the amount of essential learning that otherwise would take place through regular college is now compensated for by the work that you do, right? So that's the uniqueness of this. So you have 3-4 part advantages. One part advantage is there is a stipend that you start getting when you're in internship, which is the second 6 months of the first year. The second is you get to start very early on as an employee and you go towards financial freedom much quicker. Third is You have higher education, which is from premier institutions, which is part sponsored by the company. And fourth, more importantly, is the higher education has work integrated into it. So the amount of learning that you have to do is rationalized to ensure that you don't duplicate between what you work and what you really have to do in college. So those are the big advantages.
What will be my career growth is compared to BTech? Like where would I see myself in after 8 years is compared to a BTech student? Not I am not considering the BTech from IIT. I am just taking the example of BTech from tier second or tier third college.
So I think, sir, this is a very, very brilliant question, sir. If you can actually relate to a BTech student who is doing in tier 2, tier 3, and how he or she is placed, say, 5 years hence, because 4 years is the BTech program in itself, right? And then how the career path happens, and how you can relate that to an Tech B student, say, in 2030, as compared to a student who's got into BTech now and in 2030.
Absolutely marvelous question, Aditya. So let me try and answer it by giving a real life perspective. Let's for a moment pretend you, Aditya, and you have another classmate of yours finishing 12th standard right this year. You choose to do, again, hypothetically, you choose to do Tech B, you get selected for it, and you launch off into Tech B. While your classmate chooses to take the regular traditional path available in India, which is education first, job next. I don't want to even talk about what education and all. Education first, job next. It could be BSc, BTech, and so on. But ultimate goal that your classmate also has is, I want a job, maybe into an IT company. So you are joining, you are assured of a job once you get selected, and once you go through your skilling program for 1 year successfully, the job is guaranteed to you. The salary is guaranteed to you, right? I mean, it's basically assured. That's how it works. Now, let's fast forward. In 2023, you complete, you become an employee of HCL Technologies. From then on, we go, say, 3 years or 4 years. In 2026, 2027, you already have 4 years of experience in IT organization. Your salary has grown basis whatever would be the, at that point, increments organizations and the industry would have. It will grow like, it'll basically grow like how any other employee in the company will grow. In 2026, 2027, your friend, your classmate is, he or she has just passed out of college, whatever degree, and looking for a job. There's probably no guarantee at that point. Some might get selected, some may not get selected. Again, there's a probability in certain campuses. Now, let's for a moment pretend that your classmate joins HCL Technologies and joins your own team. You're most likely to be his or her team lead when he or she joins as a fresher. You're already far ahead. You are a lead for your own classmate at that point in time. And from there on, you already have a 4-year advantage, and that advantage will continue. As long as you maintain the same speed of learning, same speed of execution, same level of productivity that you deliver back to the company.
Aditya, I'll just... I think brilliant question and brilliant answer, sir. Aditya, I'll just add to that. So your typical cost of doing a BTech these days is about between 12 to 20 lakhs, right? And there also the ROI kicks in. While we say it's arithmetic, it's important for a lot of families of how much are you spending on education and how much are you getting back, because financial needs are an important thing. So Aditya, from that perspective also, HCL TechBee is possibly a value that you will get, which you may not get, I'm saying, in a traditional BTech qualification from a tier 2 and tier 3 institution. That's my perception as a counselor. I'm just stepping in. Yeah. Thanks, Aditya, for that question. Yes, sorry.
A quick thing just to clarify, Aditya, on this. This is the uniqueness of this program, like how I talked about 4 different advantages, is seen by various governments within India, various state governments in India and the central government also, which is why NSDC has partnered with us, which is National Skills Development Corporation, which is why many state governments have partnered with us. They are championing this cause. They are helping us reach out to many of you students, like you, Aditya. They are helping us reach the message to all of you saying, this is a phenomenal program and you must probably give this program a try. So that's how powerful this program is.
And to all the students, I'm not here to pitch for any institution, but to all the students, let me put it this way. If you have an option between a tier 2 or a tier 3 institution in a BTech program and an HCL Tech B, I would suggest that you go through this route than that other route. For the simple reason that for me, a lot of things fall in place. Assurance, economy, value, these are things that are set and as a part of the model of HCL Tech B as compared to a few other things. There is an uncertainty on the other side. Remember, you might do a BTech and may still be placed and may not be placed. These are all uncertainties. So the assurance is larger here, the costs are lesser here, and the value is better here. That's my opinion. And I'm saying this as an independent counselor, not pitching for anything. Please understand this. Yeah.
I would actually go a step further, make it even more neutral, just so that, while I represent HCL, I think it's very important that I give also the right guidance. Unless the aspiration for each and every one of you as an individual and a student is research and trying to do some, let's say, a new discovery, some new innovation on space and some science and so on, which are not necessarily areas that a company like HCL is focused on, right? So which means if your focus is, I want to study because I want to get a job, then I would any day recommend the HCL TechBee program. If your aspiration rather is to look at something which is science innovation, science research, science discovery, I think you must continue into classical learning through the standard education route that we have. That's how I will present this thing to each and every one of you.
I think that's a brilliant answer, Mr. Subbaraman. Thank you so much for that.
Sir, can you consider intermediate marks, sir, for this exam?
Intermediate as in, so some state boards have intermediate, like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have intermediate, which is equivalent to 12th standard. So if you have done your 2-year intermediate, at the end of the 2nd year intermediate, the results will be declared and the same will be considered.
So Surya, I'll add to that. I think I understand your question. Your class 12th marks is a prerequisite, but you still need to go through the test to be eligible for the whole thing. Right? So your 12th class is a qualification. Of course, they're asking for some minimum marks. After that, you need to go through this test. And if you qualify for the test, then you get into the HCL Tech B system, HCL system.
Sir, I saw that as part of this program, we could take up higher studies courses. And will these classes be like evening classes or weekend classes, or will there be specific days?
Mr. Subbaraman, I'll add to that question also, Mr. Subbaraman. You also have this option of BITS Pilani, MET and Shastra and all. And now you have your own universities also, right? Which is a SNS and SNU and those kind of things. So can you also elaborate of whether you'll be able to expand the universities so that the student has more choice? As a second question, just putting things in perspective, sir.
Yeah, lovely question. So today we have partnerships with 3 institutions, BITS Pilani, Shastra University and MET University. With BITS Pilani, it's a weekend class. Predominantly with all universities, we're looking at weekend classes, Saturday and Sunday, where a live session will be held, or a set of live sessions will be held by professors from wherever they are to all students who have enrolled into that program. Some universities, I think Shastra is doing it as an online education again. So predominantly your learning is happening during the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. The question comes in, so how does it work with weekdays? If there are assignments that are given, you are expected to read, you are expected to work on the assignments, so that during the weekends, if they are evaluated, if they need to be presented back to the faculty, that gets done. Now, the other part of the question was, are there any further options that are on the anvil? Yes. We're working with several other institutions, universities, to give more options from higher education. You would most likely see some announcements subject to some of the MOUs going through in the near future. Maybe in the next 4 weeks to 6 weeks, you must see that we are possibly looking at more university options and more courses, more programs beyond the current set of 3 that we have. Even with the 3, there are further higher education options that we have. Like beyond BSc Design and Computing of BITS Pilani, we have an MTech program. Similarly, there's BCA, there's an MCA beyond a BCA, there's an MBA beyond a BBA in Shastra University as well as Amity University. Similarly, there'll be other programs that we will hopefully announce once MOUs are executed with other institutions.
Thanks for that question, Varun. So just to summarize what Mr. Subbaraman has said, you actually are dealing with a pathway which makes you learn, makes you earn, reduces your cost, gives you assurance, and the 3 universities that you're dealing with would also have multiple options for your further education, and the 3 institutions might expand to a few more institutions as you move along.
Sir, actually, my question is that I had passed my 12th class in 2022, means this year. And now I had enrolled in and taken admission in my nearest university college. So after joining your HCL TechBee program, what I have to do, or students like me, what they have to do to after joining your courses, they have to leave their college or they have to continue with their own college?
Lovely question, Babu Nikhil Singh. So, if you already enrolled somewhere else, in order to pursue the TechBee program, the suggestion is that you discontinue other courses. You continue only with the TechBee program, because you won't have time to do justice to both. There'll be daily quizzes, there'll be weekly tests, weekly quizzes, there'll be term assignments that will need to be done, and examinations also. So there's a 6-day weekly regiment that we have, part of TechBee, because we are trying to get as much as possible done within a single year's time. So the suggestion would be that you continue with just the TechBee program. If you get selected, if you get offered for this program, you won't be able to do justice to more than one. Again, we have seen cases in the past, some people had tried doing it. They were finding it extremely difficult. They had to apply leaves for preparing for other courses, at which time they will have to end up discontinuing the HCL TechBee program, because that entire continuity will be lost. And then coming back again will not be possible, or rather will not be very easy. So our advice has always been that if you started somewhere, you discontinue and you continue the HCL TechBee journey.
Nikhil, I'll just add to what Mr. Subbaraman has said. It will be a waste of your money also, besides the fact that it will be difficult for you to pursue both the courses at the same time. If you are choosing HCL TechBee, you have to give up everything, because anyway, whatever the other university or college is offering in terms of a formal education pathway is also assured through HCL TechBee. Right. So you will ultimately end up also having a qualification, if you want to, through BITS Pilani, MIT University and Shastra, and maybe a few more universities as they add up. So you're not losing anything. If you're going to the other institution for a formal education pathway, that is being assured on this side. So to that extent, it might be a massive amount of waste of resources, time, energy, and all for you to do that while doing this. And any which ways, you will not succeed in both if you were to have put both your feet in two boats. So it is meaningless for you to go through that route.
Sir, so my question is that the WILP which is provided by BITS Pilani, the Work Integrated Learning Program, is it different from distance degree, or it is a type of distance degree? And adding to it, how will this WILP program affects me in my career as compared to the regular degree?
So, Aditya, lovely question again. A degree is a degree. Yeah, it provides you knowledge, and you provides you with a bona fide that you have cleared all the requirements for the particular program, and you're eligible to continue into any higher education program, because these are all government approved degrees. Right. So as per the statutes, as per the government established bodies that are authorized to decide if a university can give a degree of a particular kind, these have been approved to those. So in my view, and whatever we have seen in the past of people going through these programs, there is no impact of any kind. This is like just any other degree that you will get. All these are UGC approved programs.
So Aditya, I'll add to what Mr. Balasubraman has said. You are getting a formal qualification from the other BITS Pilani or any of those things, right? You might not be a part of the alumni network or 2024 batch or 2023 batch, those kind of things. But you're getting a qualification which makes you eligible to pursue anything else based on a minimum qualification that is needed, right? What you're getting here is training, skilling, job assurance, and the possibility of pursuing a degree. I'll also add to this as a counselor, Aditya. Increasingly on the tech side of it, no one is looking for qualifications. People are only looking at skills. Today, the most successful programs are run by private organizations which are only offering skill sets and charging a bomb and placing you, right? So if you're looking at a pathway where you want to make your future in technology side of it, you are getting a formal qualification. Remember that. One is not taking that away from you. But along with that, you're getting a skill set which will make you more employable and more in demand as you move ahead, right? So that is my simple thing as a counselor.
Will we receive any or pursue any degree after completing the HCL TechBee program?
भाग्यश्री, अब तक जो बताया वही थे, exactly बताया था कि what you're doing is you will join the TechBee program. After this, you will also have an opportunity or option to pursue your degree while doing all these things through the three universities that were mentioned, which is BITS Pilani, MIT, and Shastra. And as we move along, there might be a few more universities that will get added to the whole thing. So if you want to have a formal qualification, that pathway is there. At this point in time, HCL TechBee doesn't give you a degree, but HCL TechBee enables you to attain a degree from those three universities. So Mr. Subbaraman, would you want to add to that, please?
Absolutely. So HCL TechBee gives a certificate which is co-authorized by HCL as well as by NSDC. Okay, as a proof of completion of the program. Beyond this, for formal higher education, we have tie-ups with 3 universities as on date. And those universities will give you degrees subject to meeting all the requirements of course completion. Universities are BITS Pilani, Shastra University, and Amity University. Now, which one you want to pick and choose is left completely up to you, Bhagyashri, subject to you meeting the norms of that particular institution. All these programs are part sponsored by HCL and made exclusively available only for HCL. These programs will not be available if you apply directly to any of these institutions, because as I was explaining to another question earlier today in this call, these are customized programs. They take into factor the work that you do in HCL, part of learning itself, some part, not everything. And hence it is that very customized and hence not available outside. It's available only if you are an employee of the company and you've come through the HCL TechBee route.
When will start the program, sir?
We are open 365 days a year round the clock. So all that you need to do is go apply online into www.hcltechbee.com. You register yourself there. You will either get a call for further steps on where you want to take the examination, how you want to take, or you can pick and choose to do it online yourself, right? And batches will get started as and when we have adequate numbers into, which are ready enough to start a batch. So this entire month, we have started like at least 2 batches every week. So it just keeps on going every week, every day. So that's how we work, unlike a single semester pattern or something. So it's an ongoing, every week program that starts in this season. And it'll go on all through. We expect it to continue to go on every month as well, across the year.
That's very interesting, sir, because I'll just tell you as a recommendation also to HCL. A lot of students join colleges and they're very disappointed with the learning and everything, because many colleges, they do admit students, but they fall short of the expectations. So I think a 365-day thing would enable them to jump ship from there and get onto something which is much more assured and credible than you get my point, right? So that's what I was thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question that which degree holders does HCL recruitment?
Which degree holder? No, this program invites applications from students who have completed 12th standard or equivalent in this year or the previous academic year. 2022 pass outs or 21 pass outs are the only ones who are eligible.
With maths as a subject.
Maths as a subject.
Yeah.
Okay. The details of the eligibility are there in our website, but broadly, this is what we're looking for.
So Tejas, I'll add to what Mr. Subbaraman has said. This HCL TechBee program is for class 12 pass outs with maths as a compulsory subject, right? Now, the degree holders that HCL as a company recruits would be varied. That's a separate recruitment process. Otherwise, don't mix that piece with the HCL TechBee program, which is meant for class 12 students. HCL recruits thousands of students, and so tens of thousands of students from engineering institutions and other institutions. That's a separate process altogether. HCL TechBee is a different pathway where it enables class 12 students to get into the skilling thing and start working for HCL very early in their life. Right?
I want to ask, why are you only offering BSc programs? Because I'm personally interested in having PE or BTech degree.
Okay. So, very interesting question. Today, AICTE, so you must understand, there is a body called All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, which approves of any engineering degree in the country. So if you are a university that wants to offer a BE or BTech degree, you have to have AICTE approval to offer that. Now, today, AICTE approves of BTech and BE only if they are conducted in person in their institutions. Whereas our program, because it's a work integrated program, bulk of the program will be taking place while you are remote, as in your own city or where the city of work is, not necessarily in the university's premises in person. And that is the reason why it is, the non-BTech degrees are given from an undergraduation perspective. Post-graduation, you still have an MTech option with BITS Pilani, and you will get to see some more options coming in the next few weeks that we will end up announcing once the MOUs are through.
So Vishwesh, I'll also take it at a larger level, Vishwesh. Again, sorry, sir, I'm adding to, as a counselor, I'm getting into this.
Yeah.
Vishwesh, the AICT was conceptualized 15, 20, 30 years back when technical education was supposed to be delivered only in the classroom. They did not imagine that computer sciences, AI and ML could have been delivered on an online or a distance learning format. Remember, this was meant to be civil engineering and mechanical and all, which cannot be delivered unless you're in a classroom. Now, if you look at it, the best of the universities like IIT Chennai has a program of BSc in data sciences and programming. Online mode, 100% placement, 8,000 students come in and 1,200 students pass out. And every student finds internship, every student finds a job also. Because the computer sciences and AI, ML, the data sciences and those business analytics kind of a thing could be delivered online. But AICT hasn't possibly grown to deal with that. They will, because things are changing dramatically and very, very fast. So you will possibly see some of these programs being offered as a BE, BTech degree also. But besides the fact, Vishwesh, the BSc program offered by IIT Chennai, what I told you, or if you go to the liberal universities like Ashoka and all, right? Ashoka offers a BSc computer sciences, 100% placement. It's a BSc. The simple thing is that someone who wants to offer a technical degree has to go through AICTE. So a lot of good universities have created BSc programs under the UGC umbrella and are giving equally good computer sciences education. I'm limiting myself to computer sciences, please understand that, right? And are making the students more competent than a BE, BTech student with a computer sciences degree. I'm just putting things in perspective, Vishwesh, so that you understand the whole thing, right? Thank you so much, Vishwesh.
Thank you, sir.
So my question is, I think, yes, it got clarified with the counselor telling that it is going to be computer science engineering that you're looking at for the Tech B program. So in this computer science engineering, like Mr. Subbarao said, it is going to be online, virtual, and not in person. So that's what I understood until now.
So Cecily, let me clarify. What we have tie-ups with the universities are focused around computer science primarily. These are not engineering degrees. These are rather BSc or BCA degrees, okay, on the computer science side. But from a knowledge standpoint, all that is required for somebody to work in an IT organization such as ours is all embedded here. Okay, that's what the HCL Tech B program gives. I want to reiterate that these are not engineering degrees. In today's context, as we explained a few minutes ago, engineering degrees are to be approved by AICTE, and AICTE does not approve of engineering degrees which are not done full-time in class. Full-time in class, in person, within the institution. Okay. And hence, these are BCA and BSc degrees. I hope that clarifies.
Yeah. And Cecily, again, I want to clarify because it's a larger question for me. And I keep dealing with this issue a lot, many times. So I just want to step in again and again on this one. On the computer sciences or the modern, the new stuff that's coming up, which is on the technical side of it, which is AI, ML, virtual reality, and all those things. You have a lot of skilling programs, you have certification programs, you have BSc programs, and you have BTech programs. Across the four, it doesn't depend on your qualification for you to get the job. It depends on your skill and where you acquired the skill that gets you the job. So from that perspective, a tier 3 institution offering a BTech degree, or even a tier 2 institution offering a BTech degree, versus a BSc program offered by IIT Chennai, where 8,000 students are taking the test, Cecily, 8,000 students. The placement chances for the BSc student is much higher, right? And similarly, I won't name the companies, but if you look at Scalar and SkillLink and those kind of lot of companies that are there, a skill acquired from those companies are more valued than a BTech degree offered even in computer sciences from a tier 3 institution. So I'm just putting things in perspective, that you have skilling programs, you have certification programs, you have diploma programs, you have degree programs, and you have engineering programs. But in computer sciences space, that entire genre of computer sciences and data sciences and all, it doesn't matter where which is the formal qualification you're getting. What matters is what you learned in the program, and that is what makes you employable, skilled, and more in demand. Mr. Subbaraman, anything that you want to correct me, please correct me on this one.
Absolutely, absolutely. This program is a composite of many things, right? It's a composite of knowledge, it's a composite of skill, it's a composite of assured job, it's a composite of a career pathway, it's a composite of higher education pathway, it's a composite of financial independence or early on financial independence. So pretty much all these things put together is what the HCL TechBee program is.
My follow-up question is, what will be the syllabus like that will be taught for my kid? Yeah.
Okay. That's very important, Mr. Subbaraman, if you can take it up, please.
Syllabus where during the
TechBee
first
program
year of HCL TechBee program. So HCL TechBee program, let's split it into 3 parts. The first part is what we call the foundation program, which runs for about 2 months, the first 2 months, where we give the basics of computer science, basics of technology, help people come to grips with software and computers and hardware and network, and very basic, broad. So they get a feel for what they're going to be studying or learning in the next about 10 months. The second part is what we call stream specific, which are, let's say, if by then we would pretty much know whether you would be going into managing network devices for any IT organization. You would be getting into writing pure play software programs. You would be getting into managing software systems created by somebody, and so on, right? So basis that, the next 2 to 4 months would be getting you into what we call stream specific skilling. It could be learning a technology, it could be learning multiples of technology, a composite of technology, depending on the job that we have in mind. We would skill folks for that job, whatever the job requires. I mean, when let's say let's pick something like a Java. Now, Java as a standalone is not necessarily how an IT environment consumes. When you say a Java environment, a Java developer will have to know a little bit about databases, will need to know how to work on databases, will need to be able to communicate to people using English language. He or she will need to know how to do large application builds, application deployments, will need to know how to do troubleshooting and so on. So depending on the job that we have, which is surrounded around Java, we will have, we have those curated, and it goes through saying for the next 3 weeks, so and so topic start from week 4 to week 5 or week 6. The following topics are taught, there are hands-on that happens, there are mini projects that people go through all during this time. So this stream specific, as we call, goes anywhere between 2 months and 4 months. After this, you start what we call internship. The internship is the real environment. Let's say I have 6 jobs in my team, which are to do with, let's say, storage management for a large, let's say, a retailer like an Amazon. So large retailers give their storages to be managed by us, devices to be managed by us, applications to be managed by us, and so on. So in this case, let's for a moment pretend that there's a large retailer for who storage has to be managed by us. And I know I'm going to get a team of 4 more people come in who will need to be skilled on how to manage storage. So let's pretend I am the senior person there. I will be teaching the 4 of you that will join as interns into my team. I'll teach you how to access, how to log in, how to look at storage, what are the elements of storage, how I perform my job. You will take a look at it as to how I perform. You will learn through this process. This continues for 6 months. This is the real hands-on. So what happens is at the end of 1 year, you're ready for storage management as a job. You're ready for some particular work, let's say managing Java-based applications as another job, right? And so on. So this is what is required for you to do your work. The other general knowledge are all stuff that will probably come in handy at much later points in life, which we supplement through higher education. So looking at syllabus, there are 3 parts, right? First is foundation, second is stream specific, and third is learning through internship. I hope that answers the question, Cecily.
Cecily, you've done a far better job than me. Thank you so much for those questions.
So actually, the question is that after 6 months, your training period, I will be called to your offices for internship. My parents' question in that, what facility will be given there? Like me as a child for the parents, and parents are, they are actually intention that how my child is living there, what is the food given. So I want to question you that HCL is giving some hosteling, or we have to manage our hostel own self. And my second question is that actually I had given test of HCL TechBee on 10th of August. My test has been submitted and it result is not been given to me. And next, while exploring about the HCL TechBee, I got there on many websites like HCL is giving some lump sum amount by their own for the student for their higher education. If it is correct.
Excuse me. First question you asked was for internship. What do you do? Do you need to come? Yes. Yeah. The respective job leaders will request you to come to the office where the job is. Now, we understand that relocating, I mean, if you are from a different town, relocating will require some bit of help and assistance. So what we have done is the local admin teams in the respective HCL offices will guide you saying which hostel, I mean, which are the possible hostels you can go to, what are the facilities in each of those hostels or apartments, whatever. You can pick and choose. They are not managed by HCL. They are only links given basis our past history with them. Okay, we are an IT services company. We are not a college or an institution that way, right? So we don't run hostels. However, just to facilitate, we ensure that we have tie-ups in all these cities with businesses that run either apartments on rent or hostels on rent or PGs, accommodation, and so on. Depending on your interest level, your appetite, because some of these are very personal in nature. Somebody might want an air-conditioned room to stay. Somebody might want to live in an apartment. Somebody will say it's okay if I'm in a hostel type. Somebody will say I would like a PG where a family is living. I'll go into an extra room and so on. So all these are varied options and very personal to people. Hence, we only have tie-ups with multiple such providers in each city where our office is, and you can pick and choose. It is directly between you and them. If there are any difficulties, then our team will assist in trying to help sort out the issue. I hope that
the second part is the lump sum amount for the degree, sir.
That's the first question. The second one is lump sum amount. Now, we do part sponsorship. What we mean by that is, for each program, there is a portion of the curriculum fee or the tuition fee that we reimburse to the student or the candidate. So how this happens is, after somebody goes through successfully that particular term, then they raise a reimbursement request within the company and we provide it back to them. So the answer is yes, and it varies as a percentage from course to course, but it is our commitment and intent that we participate in the students' learning, and hence we give this as a higher education allowance to all TechBee students who choose higher education with our partner universities only. I hope that answers.
I think that's good enough, sir.
After my 6-month training is completed, I have to come to office. That office is based on random basis, or it is based on my skills or something? That's my only question I want to know.
Yeah, it is based on, at that point, what you are being trained on and what we see as the job demand, and a few other criteria in terms of your abilities, the absorption abilities, multiple such factors, which are decided by the organization.
So when did this exam start?
Any day. If you register today, you can choose to take an exam tomorrow, HCL CAT tomorrow also.
Charan, the simple answer is, this is a, round the 365-day examination. It's home proctored. You will take the examination from your home. If you register today, you can choose a date and then you can start taking the exam. Right, sir? Am I right, sir?
Correct. You can do it home proctored also. Suppose you don't have facilities at home, our counselors will guide you on where the examination centers are closest to your city where you live.
Sir, I have the small doubt, aren't we restricting ourselves to HCL for 3 or 4 years if we get into the TechBee program? What would be aren't we restricting our career options or paths, getting into this with only one degree available and directly getting into HCL after the 12th?
So Sai, I will respond to that before Mr. Subbaraman takes over. Let's assume that you get into a formal degree qualification, Sai, where you will do a 3-year or 4-year degree, right? Now, are you not restricting yourself? Right. What is happening here is, Sai, your education time, which is the 4 years time, is when you are also going through a skilling and a formal education process, right? It doesn't mean that, say, in 2029 or 2028, now, let's assume that you do a BTech program, right? Today you enter 2022, you exit in 2026, you get into a job for 1 year, 1.5, 2 years, at least you will work 2028. Are you bound by HCL in 2028? No, by no means. You can step out at any point in time. The question is that the 4-year period, when you are actually studying somewhere, you're working here, earning and getting an assurance of a job from HCL. But that's where it ends. The restriction part of it ends after a point in time, isn't it? Mr. Subbaraman, am I right, or anything that you want to add on this one?
Yeah. So basically, absolutely. The way you should look at it, Sai, is, see, the company is enabling you get into an IT job. have an early start to an IT career. Right. Now, do you see this as an opportunity or a restriction is fully up to you? Right. Like for me, I enjoy being in IT. Many people, there are lakhs of people in the country who enjoy being in IT. Right. And we've pursued this path. Unfortunately, during our times, there was no HCL Tech B as an option. Otherwise, instead of doing our higher education, we would have gone through HCL Tech B at that point directly. In my view, it's not really a restriction. It's just an opportunity for you to get in, because at some point you have to determine, you have to make a call. And in today's context, most of the people that study go into IT jobs only. And that's what we're giving you fast tracked, 3-4 years ahead of your course completion time. That's how you should see it, Sai.
And Sai, earlier, no, I don't know whether you joined earlier, but earlier Mr. Subbaraman said something very interesting. He said a student who gets into HCL TechBee this year versus a student who gets into a normal BTech program in another institution this year. In 2026, when you're passing out, there is a possibility that that 20 student who's done BTech and joins HCL would be reporting into you, and you'll be the team lead there. That's the possibility that you're dealing with. I hope that answers your question, Sai.
Sir, I have registered for the HCL and also have completed exam. In interview, I have selected and also I have submitted the documents they asked. I didn't get any response from HCL, sir. How can I move further for HCL?
Kindly wait. So there's huge inflow. There is a manual process of document verification going on, basis uploads. So the team will look at it, validate, and subject to clearances, they will issue the offer letter. There's a huge influx going on in the last 5 weeks, I would think. Mirza.
I think we'll wind this up now. So I think we've taken a lot of questions in this one, actually. And more importantly, I just want to tell the students what we're getting here is an assured qualification and through the partnerships that they have, an assured skill through the HCL internship, and an assured job through the HCL ecosystem itself. And all this at a very, very cost is very important in the Indian context, at a cost which is largely subsidized, and actually you may be earning something in the process. It is not restrictive beyond a point. It is just that you're skilling yourself, so you're being employed straight away. And for me, between certain kinds of institution where you want to do BTech come what may, to an HCL Tech B, the preference would be for an HCL Tech B. The other part of it which someone asked is, remember, these days for computer sciences and any in the field of computer sciences, and distance learning versus normal is not much of an issue as long as the skill is acquired. And that is something that you're assured of when you go through this ecosystem, right? Thank you so much, sir, for the thing. And I must tell you, Mr. Subbaraman, I've interviewed a lot of people, but there is no one who has not pushed their agenda. A lot of people tell me that, why they are good and all. You have been so neutral that it became a challenge for me to, push the whole thing. So thank you so much for that, because you acted more like a counselor than me acting like a counselor. So it was a pleasure talking to you on this one, sir.
Thank you. Likewise. Very nice. Thank you all, students. Looking to see many of you or all of you join us, part of HCL Tech B, as a co-employee, co-worker to me. Thank you.